So apparently, whether it's just a courtesy or whether they consider streeters as members, I'm not sure.
You have to get back to
Their tickets.
Yeah.
Coming back. Jim.
No, he's here.
Is that the lady that wrote you a letter?
Mary something, isn't it?
Okay, I hope I got everything.
We got
How's
her.
your wife doing?
Not good. That's why I've been acting. Yeah, she's ended up on oxygen. No, oxygen. Now she was a smoker before, wasn't I? We found out about it. I was driving. Her sister came out for 24 hours a day.
I'll get two of these.
You know, take her off and go to the bathroom.
Just come on all of a sudden?
I don't know. She wasn't really having a problem. She'll have to get, we don't have one yet. She don't shop, I shop. Still on the way yet of the month. I guess we still are.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. I would like to call this meeting to order. This is the regular meeting of the Granby Town Board.
And we will begin with the salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I would ask the clerk to call the roll.
Supervisor Hawthorne?
Here.
Counselor Anthony? Here. Counselor Greco?
Here.
Counselor Haggerty?
Here.
Counselor Arnold?
Here.
Highway Superintendent Moyer?
Here.
Budget Director Lyman?
Here.
And Deputy Supervisor Okanowski.
Here.
Thank you. Have you had a chance to look at the minutes from the two meetings of June 14th and June 28th?
Yep, I just finished reading those.
And we have a motion to dispense with the reading of those minutes.
Make a motion to dispense with reading these minutes.
Accept them as written. Okay.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. First item is something I'm really pleased to. I received a copy of a letter, June 20th, written to Mr. Paul Malone. And it said, I was pleased to learn that the town of Granby chose to honor you as Outstanding Citizen of the Year during the Heritage Day celebration on Saturday, June 17th. While I had hoped to attend the event, a late return from Albany prevented me from doing so. It is a pleasure for me to join the members of the community in extending my heartiest congratulations to you on this well-deserved honor. Please accept this New York State Assembly citation in recognition and deep appreciation for your many contributions to our community. With warmest personal regards, sincerely, Frances T. Sullivan, Assemblywoman, 117th District. And I would like to, this is a citation, read the citation. Whereas, it is a happy occasion when family, friends, and fellow citizens can recognize and commend those individuals whose outstanding public service has made a positive impact on the quality of life in their communities. And whereas, in recognition of his long-standing service to the town of Granby, Paul S. Malone was designated for special honor as Outstanding Citizen of the Year at the 3rd Annual Granby Heritage Day held on June 17, 2000. And whereas, initially serving as town welfare officer in 1971 to 72, Paul S. Malone was elected town supervisor from 1974 to 1977 and 1984 to 1987. During his tenure, he capably and diligently fulfilled the many and varied duties of his position with professionalism and distinction. In addition, he has served on and chaired the Town of Granby Republican Committee, Granby Center Board of Fire Commissioners, and is currently an honorary member of the Granby Center Volunteer Fire Department. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Frances Taylor Sullivan, member of the Assembly, do hereby issue this citation to offer my sincere congratulations to Paul S. Malone upon the well-deserved occasion of his designation as Outstanding Citizen of the Year, and to express grateful appreciation for his record of service to the citizens of the Town of Granby, County of Oswego, State of New York. And it's dated June 17th and signed by Francis T. Sullivan.
Very good.
Now, this is just a copy. He received, of course, the original. So I'm very pleased that she did that and that he received it, and it's certainly very well deserved. I just wanted to mention one thing coming up over at the Community Center on August 1st and 2nd is the 55 Alive Mature Driving Classes. They run from 9:30 in the morning till 1:30 p.m. You do need to sign up ahead of time, and there's a phone number. I think I put a copy of this poster, or the original of this poster, is out on the board. But it's a worthwhile program in that it saves 10%, I believe, on your auto insurance if you take the class. I've taken it before. I have to admit I'm over 50. Well over. And it is worthwhile to take it, so I'm glad that we can co-sponsor that event here in town of Granby. They present these classes in various parts of the county. All right, we put advertised bids for a wastewater holding tank.
Okay.
And those bids were opened on the designated day. Do you want to review the bids? Ruth, would you like to?
Okay, from Bach and Company, a 2,000-gallon tank is $16,455. From Clement and Company, 2,000-gallon tank is installed with all the specs being met, $15,575. From CDM Construction, again, a 2,000-gallon tank is $14,500. And from Gilbert Excavating, the tank is, and everything is $11,950.50.
Well, I'll jump in first. As discussing at our work session, we discussed these bids, and we've talked with the highway superintendent, and he knows about Gilbert's Excavating, so I would make a motion to accept the $11,950.50 bid.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay. Lynn, did you have anything further did you look at the bids or?
Yeah, the bids are all the same except for the prices, and I know Gilbert's work. And since he was low bid, I feel confident they can do the job.
Something Rick brought up, just to refresh memory, at the work session, something about a baffle, but that's standard, was it? Or when I say a baffle, maybe it isn't a baffle. What was that thing? Remember what we're talking about, Rick? The program tank?
Separator?
Yeah.
Oh, we're talking about putting the blanket there in the drain, yeah.
No, it was some other thing that's supposed to be added to the tank that comes with the tank for that price.
Manway.
Manway, thank you, John.
It's just so you can clean it out.
That's standard with the standard, right, Len?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Well, he is the lowest. He's the lowest bid. And then he is a resident of Granby.
Absolutely.
And he is the lowest. So I have to go along with that, too.
Any other discussion? Ruth, would you call the roll?
Yes, Councilor Anthony? Yes. Councilor Greco?
Yes.
Supervisor Hawthorne?
Yes.
Councilor Haggerty?
Yes.
Councilor Arnold?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That has passed. And he has been awarded the bid to provide the wastewater holding tank, which is for the garage, which is a requirement, I guess.
Floor drain.
floor drain. Okay, I received just a couple of days ago from the planning board a letter, but I am pleased tonight that the chairman of the planning board is here to present the letter in person. This is James Karasik.
Good evening. How's everybody doing?
Good.
One of the neat things about being chairman of the planning board, and one of the things that's not so neat, is every once in a while I get to come in front of you and let you know what we've been doing and what our thoughts are. In our development of the comprehensive plan, we have come across several issues that we think need to be addressed. One of the forefront issues that we would like to have addressed, and the planning board has discussed at length, put together a recommendation, and has presented that to the town board in the form of a letter, is the age of mobile homes in our town. What we have done is we've looked at the surrounding communities, the laws that they currently have in effect, the laws that they're currently looking at changing. We've expanded that search a little bit into surrounding counties and looked at some of the laws that those communities have, the counties have, and also some of the larger cities that tend to be near us. We were a little bit surprised that the age of our mobile homes in our community, not only as a stock in general, is quite old, but in order to bring in a mobile home into our town and move it around at a later time, as long as you're 20 years or younger, you can do so. We felt it was time that our community take a hard look at where we need to be down the road in the future with that law. We think that law is a little outdated. We think that those standards are a little bit outdated, and we tried to come up with a happy medium. So what our board did is, after kicking this around, we talked about some of the areas where communities allow only 5-year-old mobile homes to be moved around and brought into their communities. We talked about communities that allow 12-year-old mobile homes, 10-year mobile homes, and what we did is we thought that we needed to take a very bold step as a town and set upon 8 years. So our recommendation is to the town board that we look and change our town laws so that any mobile homes coming into the town of Granby and moved around within the town need to be no older than 8 years old. There's several reasons for this. The forefront one being the laws themselves are beginning to change in upstate New York. The standards have changed. Our community is changing. Our community is growing. We constantly have new subdivisions that are popping up on us. We have people that are buying lots and they're putting older mobile homes on them. One of the reasons that we found in the comprehensive plan that a lot of people enjoy the lifestyle of Granby is because of the rural setting. It's because people want to have this type of lifestyle, and obviously they want to protect that. We feel that 8 years will not only protect that lifestyle and help us grow as a community, but it also keeps the door open for the opportunities for people that cannot afford any other type of housing, that they're not shut out from being part of our community or joining us as members of our community in the future. There's a lot of things that we discovered when we did this, and to be quite frank with you, we were quite shocked at how far some other areas have went. And we understand this is going to be a rather hard issue to take a look at. It's not going to be an easy pill for us as a town to swallow. There's a lot of things that need to be considered. Obviously, people that live in homes that are more than 8 years old right now are not going to be affected by this law. We're talking about people coming in the future and moving homes around. We're not talking about people that are currently living in a 15-year-old mobile home that they're going to be in trouble with this thing. There's a lot of issues we need to look at and see where we go with this. One of the things that we discovered, there's communities that actually have went as far as to simply say single-wide mobile homes cannot be on lots. They have to be in mobile home parks, period. There's no room for discussion there. There's no application process to say, I bought a brand new mobile home and I own a 2-acre lot and it's in the woods, nobody can see it, and I want to put a mobile home there. These communities just don't allow it. There's several other communities, as I mentioned, that it went to 5 years. At think this is a bold step for us. It is being looked at in our surrounding communities. There are changes taking place, and I think the town of Granby needs to step in line with this and take a look at its own personal backyard. What do we need to do to update ourselves and be part of what's going on in the future here? So we've presented this in the town in a form of a letter to the town supervisor. As I understand, this has already been discussed a little bit, which is fine. I think that's appropriate. And again, this is a recommendation from the planning board. By no means is this anything that we're telling you or dictating to you or trying to force upon you as a town board. This was a carefully thought out recommendation. It makes sense. It's an applicable piece of law that has been challenged in courts in other communities, and it does hold up. Yes, it does take a little bit of work to write it out and to think it out properly. And you need to listen to your citizens in the community and make sure that we've picked the right age. But I'll tell you right now, 20 years is too old for us. We're not part of what's going on where we need to be down the road if we allow this to continue to happen. So I'm going to let our recommendation stand as that, and then the other things I have to discuss with you, I'll bring up during my report.
All right,
Okay?
thank you.
Is there any questions from town board members?
Yeah.
I think you already answered it. If you're going to give us, some of the things you said that you did research on, you're going to give us that report
Yes, sir.
also. Okay, that's fine.
Yes, Rose?
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
When they did put the 20 years in, I think the mobile homes were just cardboards. If you go into some of the mobile homes today, it's better than a built house. So you have to consider that too when we decide.
Did you have a question for Jim?
Yeah. Don't you think that's the way it was when we said 20 years?
I think that that's a possibility.
That's my
but
question to you.
I can also tell you that I think that the planning board, as you're aware, our planning board is made up of a very unique group of people. We've got a couple of farm people that are involved in our board. We've got a school teacher involved. We've got a retiree involved. We've got a couple of professional people involved. These are all people that have volunteered from the community, and they've come to you and they've asked for these appointments, and they've taken on the task of trying to do things for our community at the wishes of both the town board and at the wishes of the community itself. We're not elected officials, so we're going to make mistakes, but when we look at recommendations, I think that your particular board that you have sitting right now has enough of a cross-section that we've argued out a lot of those issues, and obviously a lot of discussion took place on that. There's a lot of concerns yet, I'm sure, that in the heads of some people that own older mobile homes as to what's going to happen to them and how we're going to deal with this. And yes, those questions need to be answered, and I think that the proper format for that is going to be in a public hearing. But I just want to stress to you that this was not a throw together, gee, we need to really get crazy here and here's our idea. This is a carefully thought out process that as a community, we need to look at our growth down the road. And we've experienced some tremendous growth. If you go over the period of just the last 3 or 4 years, you've added, I think, 4 subdivisions to this community. There's towns in Cicero and Clay and suburbs of Syracuse that only had 4 subdivisions in the short time that we've had them. And I think we've thought out our subdivisions. I think we've hit some issues head on. We've made some developers jump through some hoops to try to do some things to make the lifestyle, what we want in our community. This is one of the next steps we need to look at as a community.
Isn't 2 of the subdivisions mobile homes and otherwise?
Yes.
Well, that's the same thing, right, on their own lot? It's the same,
Okay.
okay?
Not a problem with that.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Any other
I would
questions?
like to point out, that, and I will take full responsibility for encouraging the planning board to have this discussion, because, and that come about because of the many conversations and calls that I get from people who are saying things like, oh, this town is just going to the dumps, and we need to have better regulation. We are in the process of doing a comprehensive plan. Normally, I'd like to do things the right way and then do it as part of this comprehensive plan, but I think that this is such an important issue that maybe we should move ahead, because it may be another year or so before that.
Well, we agreed with you when we looked at that particular statement, that we felt this was important enough that, not that we need to rush on it.
No, I don't want to rush.
But it needed to be separated from the whole picture. picture because it's such an important piece of the overall picture. And as I get into my report here a little bit later, I'll discuss some of the other things that we're looking at in the comprehensive plan. And we may run across a couple more issues that we need to pull out of that puzzle and take a look at separately because they affect us as a community a great deal. And people need to be involved in those discussions. And we've forewarned a little bit when we've made these presentations on comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan is an enormous undertaking for this community. And people that have attended the work sessions, I'm sure some of them you've walked away feeling very good at, and other ones you've walked away probably feeling very frustrated over because the conversation is very hard to bring back and center in on the problems that we're facing as a community in general. But this is a piece of that puzzle that needed to be pulled aside and looked at separately because we feel it's important enough that it should not be dealt with as part of a package. It should be dealt with as a separate entity. So
There will be a public hearing on this.
Oh, absolutely.
this is presented to the town board at this point, Rose. We're not enforcing anything. We're telling you what our recommendation is as a planning board. We recommend that the town board look at the zoning and that the age of mobile homes needs to be dropped from 20 to 8. Okay? It's a real simple step at this point.
I might jump in here and put on the record. There's been rumors, I guess, and I've been awful busy with personal life. My wife is not feeling well. But this is going to take several months, and I think all the board members realize this is going to happen tomorrow or next week or next month.
Absolutely.
This is going to take a period of time. So, I mean, people should realize that. We're going to...
This is just step one.
Yeah.
And I heard the rumor today that it was a done deal and we're going to vote on it tonight, and that's absolute nonsense.
Planning board doesn't have that kind of power. Never were given it, and I'm not sure we want it.
We're talking a change, an amendment to a zoning ordinance, and the way that that comes about is that you have to pass a local law amending the ordinance.
Right.
You have to have all these notices. It has to, the public hearing, of course, but that has to be advertised 10 days ahead, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it will take some time. Now, I don't want to beat it to death and have this go on for months and months. I do hope that we can accomplish whatever we decide. Now, we haven't decided we're going to accept your recommendation. One of the thoughts that was also discussed at our work session is the idea of a square footage, minimum square footage. So, and there's some questions that need to be answered. I would like to get some input from some of the park owners to see how it might impact them. There's a number of questions that we need to look into. Now, unfortunately, our attorney is not available for a few days or a week or so. I haven't been able to sit down and get any of the questions answered, although the only thing he did say is you cannot have two laws, or you cannot have a law and apply it differently for those people that are coming into town than you apply it to the people within the town.
Right.
So,
and our recommendation is not going that direction. Our
No.
recommendation is to say 8 years.
one
it's
law that affects everyone. But that's, even if we wanted to, it would not be legal to do, to say, okay, we'll take care of our own folks, but those folks from down the road, we don't want them. We can't do that. That's not legal. And so there's a lot of questions to be answered. I kind of had hoped that we might be ready for a public hearing, but when I found out that we're not ready to even set the date for the public hearing. But you start somewhere.
That's right.
Yeah, that was just, you made the point. I just wanted, because that rumor's floating around.
Oh, Lord, yes.
Yeah, just wanted to put that to rest. We haven't had a chance to really discuss it.
Okay? I thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
All right. I have at the end of this month, we have a ban that is up for renewal, West River Road North, and I have a resolution on that one. I'll read this resolution, if I may. This is a resolution authorizing, this has to be done every year. We have to go through this legal process. You can't just say, okay, roll it over. It's authorizing the issuance of a renewal bond anticipation note. The town of board of the town of Granby duly convened in regular session does hereby resolve as follows. Section 1, pursuant to in accordance with the provisions of New York State local finance law, the chief financial officer of the town of Granby be and she hereby is authorized and empowered to issue and sell in the manner provided by the local finance law a renewal bond anticipation note of the town of Granby on behalf of West River Road North Sewer District in the amount not exceeding $1,667 at such rate of interest as the said chief financial officer of the town of Granby shall prescribe. And section 2, this resolution shall take effect immediately. It is necessary for us to pass that in order to get this ban paperwork done by the end of the month.
And to take care of the sewer problem we've been having continuing down there, correct? Over that.
Well, this is the ban from way back in 98 when we had problems, so we're paying on that one yet. So I would make that motion if someone would care to.
I'll make that resolution.
Okay, would you like to?
Yes.
Someone want to second it?
I'll second it.
All right. Any question on that one? Ruth, call the roll.
Counselor Anthony?
Yeah.
Counselor Greco?
Yes.
Counselor Haggerty?
Yes.
Counselor Arnold?
Yes.
Supervisor Hawthorne?
Yes. Okay, by the end of the month, we should have the paperwork, the legal papers drawn to. It's a small note, but you still have to go through the rather extensive.
And that was for West River Road North. Okay.
Now, while we're talking West River Road North, we had more expense this year. And so I need a resolution regarding, I think at this point I would like a loan from the general fund, because between now and the end of the year there may be some more expense. So by the end of the year maybe we would decide to get a second band if necessary. But in the meantime, to keep afloat, we need be it resolved that the general fund of the town of Granby grant a temporary loan to the West River Road North Sewer District in the amount of $1,600 due to the shortfall caused by emergency pump replacement costs incurred in March. Said amount to be appropriated to account number 9730.6 SS1. I would so move.
I'll make a motion to accept it, to go to discuss it anyways. Okay. Well, you want to?
I moved. I made the motion.
Okay.
You want to second it?
Yeah.
Okay.
We can't incorporate that 16 into
No,
the
I
other-
talked to the banker.
Okay.
And I thought maybe that would be a possibility. He said no.
Okay.
Okay?
Now, while we're on it, did we ever, since you brought up the pump, did we ever find out what happened to the backup pump?
Not yet, no.
Not yet, okay.
Absolutely swamped.
Okay.
So I haven't heard anything. I called once and never got a call back. So.
Okay, so we're basically talking 6 months here. So come next year, we work on a budget, then we would have to look into another note.
Probably another one, because $1,600 for 10 people is a lot of money to pay back in 1 year.
Right, so we'd have to bond it and so that we can get out.
Unless we can stretch this, but generally the loans from another fund have to be paid back promptly.
Okay, as long as we have to do something about it, at the end of when it comes budget time, fine. I got no more
All in
questions.
favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. You on that one? No county legislators here? I have a dog control report. Number of complaints, 36. Number of dogs picked up, 10. Number of dogs destroyed or died, none. Number of dogs released, 6. Number of dogs on hand, 4. Monthly expenses, we had some food that was donated by Oswego City Shelter. They had an excess and they didn't want it to spoil. So that was helpful. So we had no expensive food this month. There's $5 for ads. Monthly mileage was 383 miles. Impoundment fees collected $20. Adoption fees collected $20. anything from the assessors or historian. I would say that talking about historian, that our Heritage Day was a very great success. We're extremely pleased. The turnout and the entertainment and the food and I thought it was quite marvelous, and everyone who talked to me said it was. And I want to thank all of you who helped, like setting up tables, and it was, and it cost us very, very little money. Most of the cost of it is borne by the tourism funds, which we receive, and if we don't spend, we would have to send back to the county, so. Planning Board, you're up again.
Twice in one evening, that's pretty good. Planning Board actually has been pretty busy the last month. At our regular meeting, we had a public hearing for 2 different situations and discussed those issues. One was the relocation of the gas pumps up at the pit stop on 8 and 3. That has been submitted to county planning for their review, and we will vote on that July 18th for final approval or denial. The other one was a self-storage units that has been presented to us down on State Route 3 in Hannibal. That program again was looked at, presented to us. We have submitted that to county planning for their input. And again, on July 18th, we will take a vote on that issue for either acceptance or denial. We've also had a work session working on a comprehensive plan, and as I mentioned, there's a few issues that we've discussed and I think that we've looked at as a community. Once again, I encourage people to be involved in this process, whether they're from the public or the town board. I will commend the people from town board that have taken an interest in this and shown up. Obviously, those meetings at times become real interesting because we have a lot of different viewpoints in a very small room, but that's what we're supposed to be doing with comprehensive plan. We want to make sure that we hear the issues, hear the ideas, and try to come up with some solutions. The things that we discussed recently were water and sewer. I think we've kind of looked at where we're at with the community with that. We've also discussed the development of a commercial district that we actually would have zoned as commercial. We've got some recommendations on that, and I just recently, in fact today, received from county planning a couple of packages with comprehensive plans from other communities that we'll be looking at our next work session. And one of them is very exciting, and the other one is kind of out of our league because it's not a community match to our needs. We also looked at the mobile home issue that was brought up, and we took that on as a separate issue on our regular planning board, and you've heard the presentation on that. And we're looking at a change on Mr. Hoffman's subdivision over there to add a sales lot, and that has not been formally brought up for public hearing yet, so we'll be setting that in the near future. So it's been a busy month. Hopefully things will slow down a little bit and give us a little bit more time that we can spend our energy back on a comprehensive plan, but we stand ready to take it on, whatever you throw at us. So, thank you.
Well, thank you. You're doing an excellent job.
Yeah, I got a question, Jim.
Sure.
Did we got the pit stop all taken care of now?
Yes. Well, it's not been voted on. Obviously, if the county comes up with any issues on that we have not looked at. Now, I will tell you as a track record, this particular planning board really never gets back anything from county that we haven't already nailed. We're pretty thorough about anybody that comes in front of us would tell you. They would all testify to the fact that we make them jump through a lot of hoops. We have a lot of questions, and as I mentioned in the past, the people on that board are not real acceptable to just letting things happen. I mean, they want to tear things apart. So.
Well, the reason I brought it up was because a gentleman approached me, and he was a little upset about having to go before 2 boards, the ZBA and the planning board, and he wants to go ahead with the project, but I guess now it's going to start late summer.
Well, if everything comes back okay, then it comes up for the vote. I can't speak for what other members would vote for on the board, and I'm never going to put myself in a position to do that. Obviously, that vote has not taken place on the planning board. There's always that possibility that will be denied. At this point, that's where we're at with it. I mean, the comment from public is over, that's closed. So we're at that stage where we simply look at the input from the county, then we evaluate all that
Now,
information.
that'll be what, the next
That'll be on
month?
the 18th of July.
Next week.
Next Tuesday, that's your next meeting?
Right.
Next Tuesday.
And we moved it because of the 4th of July. We're always the first Tuesday, they
Yeah.
fell on the 4th. We wanted to give enough time so that people had a chance to reacclimate themselves and then be ready for this. And I'm not sure that I'm ever going to apologize for making people wait and go through the process in this town. That's part of the process of living in this community. You want to be a member of this community, you need to go through the proper steps if you want to change things. And that's our job in serving the needs of both the community and the board here. They do go through those steps. So it's unfortunate sometimes that because of scheduling with county and us and everything else, that it seems to take a long time.
I know.
But we're looking at a permanent change up on that corner. We want to make sure we make the right decision.
And I know you people on the board usually tell these people, but
They know up front that it's not a fast
I know.
process.
but still, they're not always happy. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, very good, thank you. Anything from ZBA?
No, he's right there, yeah. So the 18th, he's got a meeting, okay.
Our youth program starts, well, it has started, and the first major event is tomorrow.
Yes, yes. Youth program starts tomorrow.
And,
I think
I believe
we've
that bus is filled.
50 kids going to Thunder Island tomorrow. And if I come back with no hair next day, you know why.
Be nice weather, it's supposed to be nice weather tomorrow, too.
Well, we have Fairhaven coming up, and we got going to the airport, and then we're going to 1,000 Islands, and that's our summer program. And then they have use of the pool in Fulton. And that's our summer
It's
program.
daily, is it not? The use of the pool is daily?
I think it's daily from certain hours.
Yes, yes. I think it's
Yeah, I don't remember the hours.
12 to 3, is it?
I've got it right here.
12
Noon to 5.
Oh, noon to 5. I thought it was 12 to 3, yes.
12 to 5 every
Now,
day.
that one, we do not provide transportation, but
No, they get there by themselves. But these other
they
ones,
should
the
take their
bus...
membership card with them, though.
Yeah, the bus will pick them up at the community center and return them at the community center. Yep.
So it's a nice program. There are openings still for Fairhaven, for the airport, and for the Alex Bay
There are
tour.
openings yet?
Yes.
Oh,
The Alex Bay is filling up rather quickly.
that's going to be great.
Thank you. Lynn?
Good evening.
How you doing? Okay.
Report for June. We primarily worked to complete our spray patching, and I think I kind of explained that last month, what that process entails. We cut some shoulders on 5th Street Road and Doolittle Road, and replaced the cross culvert on 5th Street in preparation for paving. Repaired a washout on Jones Drive. I had a call about some brush obscuring visibility over on Himmenville and Pendergast intersection, so I called the county on that. Well, first I talked to the state, and the state said, well, we don't do anything but fix the deck, so I called the county. The county said, well, you really should call the state, and I said, well, back and forth, but I think the county went over and cut some brush there, so.
On Pendergast and the Himminsville Bridge?
Yeah.
Good.
They didn't cut it all the way down, but they cut the higher
So we
stuff
can-
that was up above the guide rail a little bit. And I saw John D. Hollander today, and he's going to find an open date on his calendar. We're going to sit down together and see if we can't get that grant application for the salt
Good.
storage building
Good.
done. I think we've got most of the information pulled together we're going to need for that. That's all.
Very good, Larry.
I got one thing for you, Lynn. I've had some people asking me about the shoulders on Route 176 here. I realize that's a state highway, but since they've paved that, I mean, they've never come back. There's absolutely no shoulders in places. It's really a hazard.
I've had some other concerns too, and Rosie
That's
brought
what I
a
was just
concern
going to
up
ask you.
to me.
What can we do?
There's on that curve, there's a drop off on one of them up
I
on
mean, the whole
176.
length of it is truly a mess. Since they've done it, they've never come back and done
I
it.
would think probably that maybe the town board should generate a letter
To,
saying that they've had concerns.
I can do that.
we need to do something before
I
there.
mean, I can make a phone call, but how far it's going to go.
Right. Well, yeah, because it's probably a costly thing. Why they never did shoulders when they repaved it is, I mean, it's,
Going around those curves too.
On the
is
curb
dangerous.
section, one section,
I
here,
realize
there's a
that.
drop of about almost 6 inches, it
Yeah.
seems like.
Yeah.
Did you turn that one in, Lynn?
No, because I gotta get on, I gotta find the house number for the people. I can't just take,
You know who to contact on.
give them their name because they won't know where it is. But I've still got the note there on my desk, and I will call them on that too.
okay, let's do that as a board. I mean, let's see if we can get some action before someone has a real serious accident or worse. type
So how
thing.
should I describe this? As
Just a lack of adequate
insufficient shoulders?
Lack of
Lack
You're
of
talking
adequate-
between the City of Fulton line and County Route 8?
Yeah, well, all the way.
No, 176.
From one end of our town to the other. There's a curve up by Hamer's too. I mean,
It is.
it'll take you right off the highway there. You'll run into a house before you stop.
They bring
The
it back.
curve before you get up to Guernsey Road and that way. And
Goes through the whole town.
you can pick a spot anywhere on that highway. So,
Okay.
okay, thank you.
I will, I guess we don't need a resolution, but I will go ahead. If everybody is
Yeah.
agreeable
Yeah.
and write a
Confer
letter,
with Lynn on it, he'll know who we get in
and
touch.
Lynn can help me. Finance, do we have anything, Robert? No. Okay, I have provided to the board this time, I buried you in paperwork. I gave you the usual activity report. And the line that you might want to look, where it says activity, that's the monthly.
Yeah. I'm up-
items.
Right here, right.
Now, this other one I thought would be interesting because we are now 6 months into the year,
Oh, okay.
and it's essentially the same information. Some of the numbers may be a little bit different because the one I did on July 10th and one I ran on July 11th, and these are up to the minute, up to the day reports. So the fact that I put some of the vouchers into the system between that period of time might change some of the numbers a little bit. But the significant part of, I just want to explain a little bit, this one that says budget comparison. SOY budget is start of year, and then current budget is the budget as it is right now, because we might have, and in only 1 or 2 cases, we have made budget adjustments where we have changed. We took some, I think a month or so ago, we took a little bit of money out of contingency. So we essentially changed that budget and put it somewhere else. So that's the budget as adjusted. The one that's confusing, it says current balance. That is actually what we, in the case of revenues, has been received so far, or in the case of expenditures, is spent to date.
Okay.
So it's not what's left, it's what's spent to date. In this first section, this is, you'll have to, sometimes it's kind of hard to figure out where you are. General fund, revenue, in that whole first page. Also look at the suffixes on the count numbers. The A's are general fund, the DA is highway, and so forth. There's different funds that we have. And then variance, of course, is how far off from what we have budgeted. And the item that I thought might be most interesting is the percent used so far. Now, in the case of revenues, like on this first page, some cases where we've received more than we budgeted to receive already.
That's wonderful.
Some of them we didn't expect to receive until the end of the year, so those numbers are for what they're worth. And some may be over, some may be under. But when you get over to this page 2, expenditures, whenever you look at this report, they should all say under, because we cannot go over budget. And with the items that are personal services, that's salaries, they should say 50% because this is 6 months into the year. Close. So in most cases, it would say 50%, which it does. Some things we've already spent a larger amount, but perhaps we plan to spend a certain amount early in the year. So it's not necessarily an even amount each month, but that kind of, I think we're in very good shape.
They're all under except for that one here.
Oh, yeah.
They're all, every one of them's
Well,
under.
those are revenues yet up on top.
Oh, I was thinking all these
So,
under.
yeah,
Isn't
the
that-
rest of them are under, which
Yeah.
they should be.
Okay.
Yep.
Those are under budget, and because those are the expenditures.
Oh, well, good.
So if we get close to exceeding the budget, then we have to make a budget adjustment or something. That's why from time to time I ask you to make a certain move from money from one account to another, or from contingency or whatever. So I just thought that might be interesting. It's halfway through the year, and it kind of looks pretty good to me in terms of we're hovering around the 50% in most cases. Or in some cases, there's a reason why. For instance, the program for the aging, that's a one-time expenditure, and we spent that last
month was it, I think?
last abstract, so that's 100% used. But it should be.
All right.
Any questions on that?
No, very good.
Okay.
Okay. That's wonderful.
I do not have a report from the code enforcement, and I think it's because he probably planned to do it last night, and he was absolutely swamped. We had people standing in line down the hall. Ruth is here too, and I'm sure he never had any time to write up a report. And in part, it was because of the holiday last week. But this is the time of year when people are coming in and getting permits for various homes, decks, swimming pools, and you name it. And I guess I spoke to the things I wanted to speak to. Any report, Rose, seniors, or?
My seniors are busy on their trips.
I see the cars are over
The
there.
seniors are always on a trip in the summer. Oh, hey,
Yeah.
I give them
Great.
credit.
Yes.
I think their last trip was,
I don't know, but
For the life of me.
you know, it gives them a day out.
Right. They do some day trips. They do some 2 or 3 day trips.
Yeah,
and-
yeah.
and,
And they're enjoying themselves.
it's great. Plus, they meet twice a month.
You
For
gotta-
lunch?
I've got to give Fern Anthony
Yeah.
a lot of credit for all these trips.
That's a huge amount of work.
She puts in a lot of time for these trips for the seniors, and she does a lot of work. She deserves a lot of credit.
I
Okay.
have nothing. Between the chairmans I have around, they're doing an excellent job, so I got nothing.
Okay. Very good. Dave?
I've met with code enforcement, and you're right, he's very busy. We've talked about using the computer more, and he's got some help now, so it's going well. He's got still a long road ahead of him, but I think down the road we're going to be able to, number one, keep these codes in line where things have slipped through the cracks over the past 20 years. That it's going to be enhanced a lot with this computer program. So
I think so. It seems to be, and I wasn't here 4 or 5 years ago, but from things that people are saying.
Oh, yeah. To be able to follow up and be able to red flag things that need to be rechecked, or stages of building that need to be inspected. This is a great aid to him or both of them, and I think they're doing a great job. So
I think so. Okay, thank you. Rick?
Nothing,
Okay.
nothing from them.
Okay. The assessors have filed their final, what do you call it, final
tax
roll. That's the word I'm trying to think of. So they're, one of their biggest jobs has been completed. And they are, of course, we're already starting to get some applications for STAR for next year from those people who need to apply each year. I need a motion for the payment of the town bills.
I'll make a motion to approve payment of town bills for abstract 780 in the amounts of $2,563.18 from general fund, $9,371.41 from highway fund, and $9,854.04 from special districts.
I'll go ahead and second it.
Okay. Special districts, a large part of that is a payment of $9,000 principal and some interest on the water line on Route 48 South Water District.
And I think on the highway department, that's due to paving.
Yes, there were a couple
Correct.
large bills.
Yep.
I think there was about $6,000 in paving costs. So, all in favor of approving the payment of the town bills?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Next meeting, I put question mark after the work session. Is there a possibility of meetings perhaps on Thursday instead of Wednesday?
It doesn't matter to me. I'm going to be, if things go right, I'm going to be out of town. If things go right, I'm going to be out of town either way.
Oh, either way.
Yeah, I was going to leave on the
okay.
26th.
Okay. I think that was the best option. Ruth has a conflict that is really important that Wednesday night, and she likes to be here for the meetings. So if we could change it to Thursday night. Is that all right?
All up to you.
Okay, write it down on your thing right now. It would be the 27th
Calendar, mine.
27th.
at 7 p.m.
Okay.
That's the work session.
27, that hits me.
That's a
What's on
Thursday.
the 27th?
The Thursday, so softball.
Well, no, I could make it, that's a youth trip,
Oh,
but
okay.
I'll be back.
Oh, all right.
It just hit me, the 27th, I had something,
There's
okay.
something going on. I thank you for that.
Okay.
And the regular meeting will be
Second Wednesday of the month.
second Wednesday, as always, August 9th at 7:30 p.m.
Okay.
What's etched in stone, more or less.
Well,
Don't like
hopefully,
that going
most
on.
cases.
12 years.
At this point in our meetings, we ask for public comment. If someone would like to come forward, please come up and give your name and address and address the board.
My name is Mary Cunningham. I live at 2228 State Route 48, Fulton, and I'm very, very concerned about the mobile home changes being proposed. I think that it's going to cause a lot more problems if the 8 years goes through than it will help with people who are not going to fix up their homes. If it's not worth anything but scrap in the county, why fix it up? Why do anything to it? If you have a family and they have a home and it's over 8 years old and they have 3, 4, 5 kids, and not all, when they first moved into the home, what's worse than looking at a mobile home? You're looking at a mobile home with 3 or 4 additions tacked onto it. You're going to trap this family into the situation where they're going to be adding on, which in most cases on a mobile home looks worse than if they could trade it in, get fair value, and get a new mobile home. And I know, I was on the phone with someone today, and they called you. And
Had a very good discussion.
Yes, and I know he has some very good comments. He talked to me about the things he suggested and that he was going to talk with you. But I also know he told me that this was illegal, this 8-year deal.
Well, he said that in some cases when it has been challenged in court, he didn't seem to think that he said it might not go through or it might not hold up. I've heard that in some cases it has been challenged and it has held up, but I don't know. This is something we need to look into, and that's why we're not going to rush forward, because we need to, I want to do it right. He did suggest some other possibilities such as square footage and so forth, which seems like which we had also discussed.
And I think that their square footage is much fairer than the age of a mobile home.
Well, we had already discussed possibly setting a minimum square footage.
Because I don't know if any of you have you been in a mobile home recently? Have you priced them? My daughter just paid $45,000 for a 16 by 80 mobile home. You could buy a house for that, and this is built. Fantastic. Is it fair to say to her, a single mom with a child, that in 8 years, that home is worth nothing in this township?
Well, you keep saying it's worth nothing. And
Will it be scrap?
It would
Or
not
sold
be.
out?
It would not be. I think you mentioned in your letter to the board members that, someone said there were two possibilities, and one was scrap and one was, I don't remember your letter. But there was another possibility. They can be sold
For fair value, though.
for fair value. And hopefully there would be some value. And you indicated in your letter that the bank will finance for 30 years. The bank must think it's going to have
Yeah.
some value, and they know what the towns are doing in terms of restrictions. So to say it's, we immediately are making it scrap value, I can't agree with that.
Okay. But it's just something that really concerns me, and I am going to be sitting in on a lot of
Certainly.
meetings.
All these meetings are open meetings.
There are too many people around that look at people in mobile homes as trailer trash, and there are some mighty nice people that live in trailers.
Well, this is the other point that I was really kind of troubled, because I feel like this is being portrayed as a we against you kind of thing, and it
And it is.
absolutely is not.
And I'm not the only one who feels like it's that way. It's
Well,
like everybody
it should not be looked that way, because as Jim mentioned, these people on the planning board are ordinary folks. They're not rich folks who are putting themselves on a different level from people who live in mobile homes. I expect that some of them probably have lived in a mobile home before. I would not be at all surprised. And to make the presumption is not correct.
The people are presuming that.
Well,
And
it's unfortunate.
Yeah, and
I don't want it to look at, and I don't want it to be looked at as an anti-mobile home attitude. It is looked at, I look at it as a protecting of land values throughout the home, and I feel very strongly that the majority of the people want something done. Now, 8 years, I don't know whether that's what we're going to end up with, but they want something done, and something done very soon. So that's...
As long as it's fair to the people that don't make that much money. There's a lot of people out there that don't make enough money to afford a home. It's just got to be fair. Whatever is done, it's got to be fair.
Anything else?
I think another comment is, one of the reasons to put that some restriction, whether it's 8 or 10 or 15, is that right now a lot of the surrounding towns have a lower number than Granby does. It's 20, so that a lot of those people who, for whatever reason, are attempting to move or moving are bringing these older trailers into the town of Granby. And that's one of the reasons I think the planning board is like, we need to reassess this 20-year thing, so that you don't just become a collection of older mobile homes moving into the area. I think that's one of the thought process.
I think that's the biggest concern of all.
If you step back and look at it, the people that are here, or people that are coming in, with newer mobile homes and so on, that's not the planning board's, I'm sure that's not their thoughts. It's just that you don't want to become a collection of, older mobile homes. That's, like you spoke, your daughter just bought a brand new one. And you set that up real nice, and then you have somebody drag one in that's 20 years old, and
And I can show you a couple of those. She's got phone calls.
Mary, I'm really glad you're here, and I hope you attend every planning board meeting.
I intend to.
Everybody in the town needs to have a part in the say, and that's when you're just trying to, make the decisions, quality decisions. And we really appreciate you coming.
Okay.
Fact is, I think in the last week I've talked to 2 people who live in mobile homes, and they feel that something should be done. It is not being done just for people with expensive homes to protect those land values.
If you have to protect everybody's.
Everybody. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, that's all I've got. Anyone else? Comment? Okay,
Make a motion to adjourn? I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Hey, I got our next senior picked up for next year. Jim Best.
Oh,